And here's what you could expect to see come back on the planet before he came back. And this is what he says. As it was in the days of who? Noah. So it what? Maybe, might, possibly? No, will be at the what? The coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were what? Eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. This is how it what? Will be at the coming of the Son of Man. You may be seated if you can. Okay. But again, Jesus gives us some clues. How do you know it's getting close to his return there? And again, we're talking about the second coming at the end of the 7-year tribulation. But he says, well, specifically, it's going to be a repeat of the days of Noah. So the logical question is, well, what went on in the days of Noah? So we see if we're getting close to it. Well, he tells us one aspect here in Matthew 24. What did he say? People are eating, drinking, giving marriage. Basically, business as usual. In light of the coming judgment of God, people say, yeah, you wacko, you're one of those weirdo conspiracy theorists. I got to get to work tomorrow. Just good thing we don't see people doing that today. That's everywhere. Peter calls it the scoffing society, right? So that's in function. Well, what else was going on that day? Well, in order to find out, you got to go back to Genesis 6, which gives us two more aspects of the days of Noah. So let's see if we're repeating those. Genesis 6, 1 through 7. When men began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. And by the way, the sons of God are angels, fallen angels. Okay? Then the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with man forever, for he is mortal. His days will be 120 years. The who? Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward. When? What created the Nephilim? Here it is. The sons of God, the fallen angels, went to the daughters of men and what? Had children by them. They created this weird hybrid of humanity called, the Bible calls Nephilim. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. And the Lord saw how great man's wickedness on the earth had become. And listen, that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was what? Only evil all the time? Wow. And so the Lord was grieved that he made man on earth, and his heart was filled with pain. So the Lord said, I'm going to wipe mankind, whom I've created from the face of the earth, men and animals and creatures that move along the ground, and the birds of the air, for I am grieved that I have made them. So you see three things from the scripture that are recorded for us, telling us about the days of Noah, right? And if we see the repeat of these, that means that from Jesus, as it was in the days of Noah, it's going to happen again before he comes back. So shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. Now we saw, again, the lackadaisical attitude towards the judgment of God. I think that's easily being repeated. It's all over the place, right? Dare I say, even talking to other so-called Christians, they don't even want to hear it, which is crazy. Number two, he says the thoughts of man were continually wicked all the time. Good thing we don't see that. Each week it's like, what else? What more wicked could you be doing? So there's a repeat of that. But what's that third one there? The Nephilim issue. What's the Nephilim issue? The Nephilim issue was what I call a hybridization of humanity. Mankind was made into something different than what God created. Okay, a tweaking of humanity. And it's a good thing that we don't see any signs of that coming back. I'm telling you specifically who we're talking about here, folks. Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab, when he goes and he does interviews, he not only talks about brain chips, we'll get into that, Lord willing, in a future study. He's big on the brain chips, and we'll see why. He's also big on you'll own nothing and be happy, like a slave labor, like he grew up his dad's factory. We also saw last week, you'll eat less meat for nefarious purposes. But another big thing that he always seems to work in almost all his interviews is simply this. Watch this. He says in the new Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which really is the Fourth Reich, he says this. Here's what you can expect in their version of paradise and want to bring to the whole planet. It will change not just what you do, it will change who you are if you take genetic altering.